Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us on this episode of the American Reality / Dream podcast. Today, I'm sitting here with a good friend of ours over at Realty Group, one of our agents. I'm going to let him introduce himself. With that, let's do it, my friend.
Hey, everybody. My name is Jordan Eatherton. I am the team lead at Apex Realty here at Realty Group.
Awesome. So, Jordan, you've been with us how long now?
About 5 years.
About 5 years. All right. And coincidentally, that's pretty much right when you got into real estate. Pretty close, right? Yeah. So I wanted to jump right in. I want to talk about your story because that's what we really talk about here on this show is we talk about the adversity that people have in the pursuit of the American dream. That's what we call it, the American reality.
Yeah.
I think you got a story that, really kind of touches on that. You probably had the American dream, but got slapped in the face
a couple times
with the reality of it, right? The pursuit of it.
Yeah.
And, right now you're in the business, you're active in the business, you're doing a lot in the business. But, you're probably seeing the same thing I am that, it is harder and harder right now to obtain that dream. People are getting more adversity in order to obtain that dream. And even quite frankly, us on the business side of it that are trying to be, the conduit for people to get that American dream, we're running into more challenges, just operating the business and just, doing what we do. So real quick, Jordan, why don't we talk about, what got you in the business? You've only been, it seems crazy, you've only been in 5 years. It seems like it's longer than that, but, let's kind of talk about what got you in and what that looked like.
Yeah. I've only been in the industry for about 5 years.
Yeah.
However, I was in the industry, but not as a licensed
agent.
Before. So when I first got into real estate, I was doing fix and flips across the cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul. And we did major fixes, not just lipstick on a pig. We were tearing everything down to the stud. And we connected with a few realtors. Thankfully, no RG realtors.
Good, yep.
I would make sure we put that in there. But we got taken advantage of by quite a few different people, realtors, contractors, general contractors as well too. And at one point we had 3 or 4 properties all going on at once. And one of the properties that we, in hindsight, probably should not have done, but we were kind of like forced into it. And we tried to back out and we were told that we couldn't, even though now
that you know,
looking at it, I definitely could have, But what had turned out was that there was major foundation damage on that property. And like I said, no lipstick on the pig. We're fixing absolutely everything. I had the contractors tear everything out of that property and redo the foundation, but I was pushing my foundation people to go like fast as they possibly could, right? They proceeded to do that without permits. And so what had happened was the city actually came in, saw that they were proceeding without permits, unbeknownst to me. I did not know that. And the city shut that property down.
They usually come in really nice and polite when they walk in the door and they catch people working without permits, right? I mean, they come in and like, sir, excuse me, right?
That's gave me a hug,
right,
and everything.
It's not the way it basket. Goes. Yeah.
No, they just put a big red sticker on that front door. They shut down all of our other properties as well too, because they thought that all of our properties were proceeding without permits and they didn't bother to check.
Right.
So we had 3-4 properties that were now on hold because we needed to get permits for this one. Well, that company has now gone under that did our foundation repair. And it took them 3 months to get proper permits.
Wow.
That's 3 months.
You were paying all the holding costs
on every single property, $3,000 each. Now we have a foundation issue that was $40,000 to repair. We were tight. We were
let's face it, probably underwater.
Way underwater. So the only way for me to actually recover or recoup any type of profits so I could pay back our investors was for me to get my real estate license. And so it wasn't a choice that I necessarily made because I wanted to. I was kind of forced
into it.
Yep.
So, there had to be some fear involved in that when you realized you're underwater and you're thinking, I've got these people I should be taking care of. You could have bailed on all of them, claimed bankruptcy, moved on, whatever, right? But you didn't. But there had to be some fear and some absolute, pretty negative emotions attached to this, but you got your real estate license, which doesn't happen overnight. It takes, even if you press full court press ahead, it's still a solid month to get that
It
done.
took me way more than a
I was
month.
gonna ask you
man.
that. So like a minimum month. How long did it take you?
Maybe like 8.
Oh wow! And you were holding these properties all through that time.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Okay, so you get the license. Obviously, you ended up. You know, the incentive was you wouldn't have to pay
Yeah.
a full commission on it, so you'd recover the cost of at least one property.
Yeah.
Right. So you did that. I assume, sold all the properties.
We did. Yep.
Yep. And
all investors paid back. I want to put that in there as well too.
You know, and that's integrity.
Yeah.
Because like I said, you could have paid them 50 cents on the dollar. There's a lot of things you could have done, which is great. But let's talk a little bit about, you know, where your production is right now, where your career is right now. So, you know, 5-6 years ago, you jumped to the side of it. Mm-hmm. Where have you landed in that amount of time today?
As far as like production wise,
yeah.
So this year I should be right around personally 40 to 50 transactions this year. For the team, we should be around like 80.
Nice.
90.
Yeah, I want to just make this really clear to people here. I think when you think about a career in real estate, it's obviously a career being self-employed. Mm-hmm. Entrepreneur is the word that's used. Really, it's more solopreneur, especially when you first start. Right, you're on your own, running a business yourself, and you have a system you have to beat, because you could go trade your time for money and go get a job. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be a ceiling on that income, right? And you're going to get anywhere from, 24 or 26, checks per year, depending on how their payroll works.
Leap year, right?
Right? What's that?
Leap year.
Yeah, right. So you look at that and you go, all right, you're doing 50 transactions. Basically, you're on par for somebody that's paid every single week at a job. You're still trading your time for money. Let's not lie about that. Yeah. Even if you're running your business, you're still actively a business owner, mm-hmm. right? But the difference is you got no cap really on your income potential.
Yeah, earnings are exponential.
Exponential, yep. And you've beaten the system to the point that you're literally not even just getting paid, not paying yourself once every 2 weeks or twice a month, like the traditional system is. And sometimes people get every week, mm-hmm. but you're doing it every week, and you're doing a heck of a lot more. Those commission checks, they add up quite a bit more than what your average person is going to make. So you've literally beaten the system.
Yeah.
And you did so with no intention in even being in this industry.
No. Yeah.
I just want to make that really clear how people can fall. I fell into real estate myself in a different way, but when you fall in and you just sink or swim, mm-hmm. some people sink, some people swim.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that you haven't had other adversity in your career. And most people that know you probably know what you went through a couple years ago. And I remember you and I were talking right when this was, like, you didn't even know what was going on yet.
Right.
And you're telling me these symptoms you're having. I'm going, dude, I think you got a problem. You got to go get looked at. Right. So let's kind of talk about, the onset of that.
Yeah.
Right. And how that progressed and how you navigated that while staying in the business.
Yeah. So I woke up one morning randomly, and my feet were just a little tingly. I didn't think anything of it. I used to do bodybuilding. Mm-hmm. I was in football. I'm used to extremities going
right.
numb. I mean, you're like this all the time.
Right.
So
there's nerve impingements.
Exactly,
and
right? You feel it sometimes. Yeah. So I played no big. It didn't bother me that I had something going on. Stretched out, whatever, felt a little bit better. Have chiropractor come over to the house, adjust me. You come over to the Maple Grove office, adjust me right there as well.
So yeah.
I got videos of it.
That's good. Yeah.
But it quickly progressed. It went all the way up to my chest, and we were at the Club Wealth event.
Yeah.
In
where was that again?
I think that was in.
Was it Texas?
I think it may have been in Texas.
Okay.
I do believe. Yeah, it was in San Antonio.
Yep.
Or wherever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I couldn't feel anything. Like, I was walking up and down the stairs, and I was numb. And one of my teammates, May, she was trying to help me around the event, and she's like, "Yeah, you need to get checked out."
Well, yeah, and you were telling me this. We were outside by the fire that night, or wherever the heck we were, and, and you're telling me this. You're saying with like a smile on your face. You're like, "This is what I'm going through." I'm like,
"Yeah,
you need to get up and go to the hospital." Like, what are you talking about?
It wasn't on my calendar, right? It's not on my calendar. Right. It doesn't exist, right? And so I never put that date on my calendar until my wife really pushed it.
Right.
And she made me go to the hospital, and it turned out that I had a massive tumor that was between my T4 and T6 vertebrae.
So thoracic spine, middle back.
Upper back.
Oh, yeah, okay, yep. Not quite cervical, but
yeah, it was like right underneath my neck.
Got it.
So like,
wow,
right,
top of the thoracic.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so but that was numbing. You said all the way down
Yeah, chest down.
Chest
I
down.
could barely walk.
And okay, so you got, obviously they, did scans or whatever they did,
Hmm.
and they sit you down. How'd that conversation go?
Yeah, they gave me an option to ignore it, which I was been paralyzed and
Right.
potentially would have lost my ability to breathe on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Or they said that we can go in and operate and get that thing removed.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a chance of me being paralyzed
From the surgery.
Yeah,
because I mean, it was a pretty hefty chance, if I remember. I mean, it was not like a 1%
no
chance.
No, it was. Even if it was 50-50, it was just like, yeah, well, either I die or I'm paralyzed.
Yeah, I got a 100% chance if I do nothing, right? Or
Right.
a 50% chance if I go.
Exactly.
Right?
So I chose to get it out. I have 2 younger kids, and I wanted to be able to make sure that I saw them, or just have the potential to be able to, or the possibility to be able to see them grow up.
Right.
And that they didn't even let me leave the hospital. They need to let me drive.
Right.
And so all right. So I called the wife, and she took me over to the hospital, and they kept me in the hospital a whole week.
Yeah. And I think I called you like the day or two after your surgery.
Yeah.
And you're in there, and you're all like, "Hey, what's going on?" And I'm like, "How the hell do you sound so chipper? Like, what? You're like, yeah, I'm doing good." I'm like, doing good.
All mindset, man. It all comes down to mindset.
100%.
I knew in my mind of minds that I was going to be okay. I didn't let any doubt. I probably spent maybe 5-10 minutes down poo poo street.
Yeah.
Where I let some of that negativity get into my brain, but other than that, I didn't let it get to me.
Right.
But at that time, I was working with maybe 12 to 15 people.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in the hospital. I'm not going to be able to help these people out.
Right.
And so I really relied heavy on my team to be able to help these people.
Which did you foresee any of that when you first decided to start a team? Did you foresee that, someday you might need some leverage, someone behind you? Was that part of the incentive to grow the team, or was it 100%? I'm here to support them. You're not even thinking about you.
Yeah.
Was that it?
Well, 100%.
Yeah.
And it just kind of happened. That was like for sure the silver lining in the whole thing.
You weren't even thinking about, someday you might need to leverage or lean on somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of figured that about you.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was crazy because after the surgery, I remember you had a back brace on for how long?
Like 3 months.
And how long before your feeling came back?
I still don't have a lot of my feeling back.
Right.
But I would say maybe 4 months until I could start really feeling things again.
Yeah. You don't have a lot of your feeling back, but you're walking and maneuvering just fine and stuff like that. So you have enough feeling to get around.
Operate.
Yeah. And they don't know if the feeling's ever going to come back, right? It couldn't.
Yeah.
But is it still coming back?
It's still coming back. Like I can feel that the mass majority of everything, but like my back, like my daughter pokes me all the time, and she's like, "Oh, can you feel that?" Like, no.
Is it weird that I just want to like stab you with the leg to see?
Right. Will Ferrell.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Can you feel that? No, we won't do that. But no. The crazy thing is about it. And you brought it up. How much of this revolves around mindset?
Yeah.
And one of the things I see. I'm very passionate about this. Why we run the show, how much of a conduit we really are in this industry for people to really achieve their version of the American dream.
Yeah.
And when you look at the stats around homeownership, it's compelling and it's incredible how much better people do with the stability of ownership. Versus what you see in non ownership. I could talk about the metrics all day on it, but what we do is actually pretty important. So when I think about how mindset plays into what we do, because so often I'll talk to agents that had a really crappy year, and what I find out and kind of digging in with them that life happened. So there's always a why you're successful or a why you're not. And what I see with a lot of people that did not have such great years is this is why I didn't. Life happened. I got a divorce. My, grandmother moved in because now I have to take care of her. There's always something that, life happens, so therefore you can succeed.
Yeah.
And the reason that I'm always trying to fight against that is because what we do is so important. And the mindset of, hey, even though I've got life happening in a big way, I'm not going to let that slow me down to complete my mission.
Right.
To deliver that for other people. That was a stellar example of that mindset.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, when it comes to mindset, we can't always control how we feel, but we 100% can control how we react or respond.
Mhm.
You know, you can feel angry. If you act angry, that's on you.
Yeah.
You know, it's not on you that you felt it. You can feel sad. That's not on you, but it's on you how you act with it, right?
I agree.
And you had those moments. I'm sure you mentioned, a few moments of, be feeling negative,
Mhm.
but it was on you to figure out how you're going to react and respond to that. And you made a choice. And that's what I really want our agents, not just our agents, but anybody listening to this, to realize that we have that control. We can't always control what happens to us. There's things that contribute to us having a bad day or a bad period of our life. There's contributing factors, right? But the determining factor is, how am I going to respond to that?
Yeah.
So I will commend you on air that you did an amazing job. Still are, doing an amazing job with that. And since then too, you weren't a coach prior to that,
No.
were you? So since that, you also stepped up and became a club wealth coach yourself.
Correct. That is correct.
And why did you do that? What led you there?
I felt that it was a natural calling in my progression as an agent and as a leader that's trying to grow.
Yeah.
The best thing that you can do as someone that is trying to grow is to hold yourself more accountable by holding other people accountable.
Right. It's funny because you have to then, it forces you to level up.
Yeah.
Because now you have to level them up. Like, if they ask you questions you don't know, you're like, shoot, I should really know that.
Exactly.
So you want to stay ahead of that, right?
Yeah.
I got to know these things so I can answer them.
I can't tell you to do something while I'm
exactly.
not doing it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I can't tell you this is the behavior you need to be successful.
Make these phone calls. Like, are you doing those phone calls?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way, right? So it actually does push us to do bigger things, 100%.
Definitely does.
So anything else you want to share before we wrap up today?
Oh, man. I think, I don't even know.
Well, I'll ask you this, okay? For those that we just mentioned, that kind of have life happen and just kills their progress.
Yeah.
What would you say to them, off the cuff? I don't want to give you time to think about that, but what would you say to them to maybe help them make a different choice?
So I think you touched on it realistically, where we can only control what we control.
Yeah.
We can control our emotions. We can control how we react to things. We can't control a lot of the outside influence.
Right.
Right. Life happens. It's going to happen. It's going to happen to the best of us.
All of us.
All of us. Stay positive. Like, just know that there's going to be better days. Right? How bad you may have it, someone does have it worse than you.
And I think too, I heard you talk about, you wanted to make sure you'd be there for your kids, right?
So yeah,
I think there's also a point that you attach yourself to some sort of purpose.
The why.
Right, the why. You know, and it kind of becomes a cliche topic. But,
It does.
But, there has to be something bigger than yourself, bigger than how you feel at the moment.
Yeah.
That pushes you to continue moving forward. And I do think some people really struggle with that, really connecting to a purpose.
It's very true. So with that, yes, I wanted to see my kids grow. I want to be able to run in the backyard with them, throw a football, whatever, right? But during that time, I really got attached to an industry that it has a lot of negativity. It's with child trafficking.
Right.
And I told myself, if I was ever going to be able to feel my legs again, that I'm going to try to be more a part of a community that's trying to do more for another community.
Right.
And that's one that I really stuck in. And this year I wasn't able to do it because I hurt myself.
Right.
But I was training for a 100-mile bike ride.
I remember that. Yeah.
And so I was really, I still was able to raise quite a bit of money for the foundation.
Right.
Wasn't able to go on the ride. But this year I'm gonna do it.
All right, I'll go with you, but I'll be on my Harley.
All right, I might get a little draft on you.
Right. But all right, well, I'll tell you what, Jordan. We'll wrap up. I just wanted to say, hey, thank you for coming and doing this. It's always an inspiration for people to hear other people's stories, what their struggles have been, what is possible, what success looks like even through struggle, what mindset you need. So I think people will probably take a lot away from today.
I hope so.
So definitely appreciate it. And with that, we will say goodbye, everybody. And Jordan, how does anybody get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can. I'm at the Maple Grove office almost every day. Or if you want to reach out to me, they can call me at 612-688-3715 or reach out to us at mnapex.com.
So any non-RG agents or even RG agents that are looking for a team, Jordan he's a great mentor, great leader to talk to.
Appreciate that.
So again, like I said, if you want, hopefully you can write that number down. And when he said he's at the Maple Grove office for non-RG agents, we're talking about the Realty Group office
Yes.
in Maple Grove.
Correct.
So feel free to reach out. Thanks again, Jordan.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Go.